Good evening, sir. We'll be starting in another 5 minutes.
Yeah, should be fine. Good evening, everyone. I guess you can hear me right now. So, I would like to introduce Grishma ji to start the welcome speech for the meet.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of IEEE UVCE, I extend a warm welcome to all the participants who have joined us today for this introductory webinar on Agentic AI. We are delighted to see such enthusiastic participation and interest in this emerging field of technology. A special welcome to our speaker, Subramanya Navada KR, for taking the time to be with us and share valuable insights with our audience. We sincerely appreciate your presence and willingness to contribute to the learning experience of our participants. We hope today's session will be informative, engaging, and inspire everyone to explore the exciting opportunities Agentic AI has to offer. Now, I introduce Tarun P., General Secretary of IEEE UVCE, to give speakers introduction.
It is an honor to introduce our speaker for today's session, Mr. Subramanya Navada KR, a software engineer at MorganChase with an expertise in full stack and cloud native development. With his industrial experience and technical proficiency, he brings valuable insights to emerging technologies and their practical applications. On behalf of IEEE UVC, I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Subramanya Navada KR and respectfully invite him to address the audience and take the session forward. Thank you, sir. You can continue the session.
Okay. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. You're
Yeah. Sorry if there is some background noise. Few concert is going on. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Should be fine. Namaskar ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ. So a warm good evening to all. Thanks, Grishman, Tarun, Jyotika, and IEEE UVC team for inviting me to share some thoughts with you guys. So before I could even start, I just want to know from you guys, like, how many of you have uh, are really in thought that I want to use AI in my systems? Just raise your hands or like, okay, yes, no, anything. Okay, some of you want to use, yes, Srivatsa, Kushal, Prarthana, so on and so forth, right? So you guys want to use AI. So AI has been a fundamental, scene of primacy in your game. So even before I could start and talk something about agentic AI and all, what is your first opinion the moment you hear the word agent? So if you are a proper Kannada, a Bangalore kid, you would be, or basically who knows who watches Kannada movies. Most of us would connect back to, there used to be Putani Agent 123. That's the first movie ever came in a spy approach, right? So that movie was an iconic movie where eventually folks in that movie ended up becoming agents in its own way. It's a detective agent. So whenever we talk about agent or the term agent itself was briefly being discussed in its own way. Like, just before I could start, I was looking at one of the book just behind me, like the Srimad Ramayanam was a particular copy from Yoma edition. If you look into that particular whole Ramayana as it is, that's the best example of agentic workflow. Why? Because somebody did something to get this thing done. You have to do this thing. So how to get this thing? You have a set of approaches to follow. If you follow those certain set of actions, you'll end up getting your result. So that doesn't mean the result what you got is absolutely correct. So you need to have a recorrection. So see, Rama asks Sita to do validation. She'll go for Agni Pariksha. That's your cross validation. Then he comes back. That doesn't mean every action done by AI will also work out. It finally ended up with Rama, Viyoga of Sita. So if you see Ramayana as a whole, it's a proper agentic workflow which ended up failure, but it did its execution, right? So India as a whole, or an approach of what we see today, agent is something that was already existed. Okay, so even before I could correlate with my slides, which is boring again, but um, let's think of this scenario, right? How many of you have went to LKG, UKG, first standard by any chance, by luck? Some of you, right? Should be all of you. Then only you would be getting some play, going forward in the education. So when you guys went to, okay, whenever you feel like talking, just raise hands or do something, so I'll understand you guys are listening. Okay, obviously I'm the only full system in this call who is turning on my video, so you have to bear me, but still. um Okay, all of you went to class 1 to 3, right? So what you guys did in class 1 to 3? Like if you studied Kannada, they would be like ಬನ್ನಡದಗಡಂತ ತೂರಿ ಕಾಸೆ ಕೊಂಡನು ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ಸರಿಗಮಪದನ ಸೋದಿದನು ಸರಿದ ಮಗನ ಹಾಡಿದನು, or like you would be learning like one ones are one ones one twos are one. It's always one ones are one, but we learn it in some pattern, right? So that's something what we call as learning curve. So basically, in your class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever that the Mediterranean stage of your academics, you are very good in memorization. You memorized each and everything. Oh, this is that. That is this. Do like this. A for apple, B for ball, C for cat. Done for dusted. That's how it used to be, right? And then you come to class 6, 7, 8. You are bombarded with subjects: mathematics, algebra, geometry. No, it's not geometry, it's geometry. And then political science. First of all, you guys are not even supposed to 18 years, you kids are. And then you are supposed to learn political science, as if like Modi will come next to you and ask your political advice. You're learning all the subjects, right? Why do you do all those things? Because uh, all your faculties or the education system want you to be multidisciplinary. You should know multiple things. You should be that, this, everything. And then you come to the legend of all time, class 10, right? So what you did, you went and took the Zen book. If you are a state board guy, CBS also same story. 10 years paper, 11th year repetition. That's what you did. And scored 98%, as if like you are the only person who scored 98%. Somebody is already scoring 625. The marks doesn't matter. Why? Because you just figured out the pattern. And you came to class 11th and 12th, where you wrote an exam called KCET, where it was like they gave you 4 options: Aki Dabbi Gulabi Dabbi, Cheta number 1, 2, 3. Some pattern you figured out. If A equal to B equal to C, A should be equal to C. Go and write it. Who will come and see? So you had a good memory, you become multidisciplinary, and you figured out a pattern recognition. And then you come to the legends of engineering. You are in UVC or any other college. What you guys do? Beautiful thing. You figure out that this ma'am, no, if I go to Deepa ma'am and talk like this, she'll be okay. She'll give me 1 marks extra, 1 credit extra. Quiz I got 10 marks. I'll ask ma'am to give 1 marks, it will become 3 credits. That's how you start to manipulate people, right? Kiran sir, you will talk in some way. Your principal, you will talk in other way. So you figure out with whom I should talk in which pattern to get my things done. Now we apply the same logic or orientation on the subject called as AI. That's what AI is doing. That's what your AI is all about. It has intensive memory, then it has good amount of multidisciplinary content. It figured out whom to cater what and how to recognize a pattern, and we call it as intelligence, which is artificially creating the same replication what a human disabilities were doing. Uh, Now, that's what AI was, and that's what AI is altogether. So today, what you guys are seeing today, what we're going to be talking about is just an existence criteria of how you can explore AI in a better pattern. So that's a core principle, right? So I hope that made real sense, but you will actually understand the sense once once we deep dive into the other patterns of the same logic. So I'll quickly go through my other slides. So okay, because I have to end up showing you slides. Sorry for that. So where are we? Okay, so it's coming up. Hope the screen is coming up.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is me. I have not done 25 milestones. The legend of all Gemini gave it on my 25th birthday. So thanks for it. That's also not created by me. It only figured out this fellow is doing all this bullshit. Let me create something for him. But what we're trying to achieve today is figuring out. See this. I don't know. I didn't get a topic. The guys in your team gave me the topic that agentic AI empowering minds, building intelligent future. I don't know whether if is there any future or futures there. See, you people are very smart in putting yes at the end. I'll come to that later. But this is what we do, right? So when you start an assignment an hour before a deadline and you end up getting an A grade, this is all you guys know about AI today. If I ask you, right? So you would have used X amount of GPT, X amount of Claude. Now there are multiple tools available. You just go and explore and you get the things done. So in your whole academia, what you actually use or till you cross your the 4 years, you would be doing AI for this thing only, right? So when you start your assignment, get things done, blah blah blah, done, academia done, namaskara, ಕೈ ಮುಗಿದ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ life. But the fact is this: how this AI system started, if you ask, it's like your own Tom and Jerry story where it started to add all chemicals and figured out something new. It might be a dangerous weapon or a creative tool to kill the Jerry, but the Jerry is who is something that will come down later. But all of these things, what we saw is pandas, numpy, matplotlib, data, sklearn, pytorch. All of this started to do something called as machine learning. So we started to learn like a machine, and we started to teach machines started to learn like humans, and then it became machine learning on its whole. And that's what we see today as AI/ML's fundamentals. So all of us should understand one thing: if you want to know AI agentic system, you should be well aware of what makes this AI agentic system truly outstanding or unstoppable. That's all because it is founded by the capability of learning at its core. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕಲಿತ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಏನ್ ಕಲಿತೀನಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಥೇಚ್ಛಸಿ ತಥಾಕುರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಯಥೇಚ್ಛಸಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು, how do you learn is what you're interpreting. So that takes us to a core agenda. What we're trying to talk is, we'll see what is this paradigm called AI agent, what are the tools in memory, core architecture, what are multi-agent systems, what are real-world applications, agentic landscape, challenges, safety, what are you guys going to do later. So this is the agenda. Okay, I'm not going to bore you guys with the same content, so a lot of things we should see. But if you see the history and evolution of AI agents, the whole term artificial intelligence was tossed in 1950s. There's a tuner things and all happening, and they figured out that there are rule-based expert systems which can actually do the logical trees. Like ನೀವು ಮರ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮರ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, if you go to Lal Bagh tomorrow morning, you just go and explore that. A tree just keeps exploring itself, right? So even though it is expanded to the core, ಆ ಮರ ತುದಿವರೆಗೂನು root is capable to supply water and food. That's what AI was all about. The way people thought was, how can I create an AI system that can understand my core principle till the end of its extensions? And we keep on extending, keep on expanding. Let's see how it actually goes based on different rules. ಒಂದೊಂದು ರೆಂಬೆ ಕೊಂಬೆಗಳು ಒಂದೊಂದು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಟ್ರೀ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಬೀಂಗ್ ಫಾಲೋಡ್. But it is actually become an expert system in 1980s where we started to talk about domain specific reasoning. We brought this concept called reasoning. Why should I agree everything? ಏನ್ ದೀಪಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಹೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಫೈನಲ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಬಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಬರೋ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as the reasoning concept. That's called deep reasoning. Why should I do it? Why it should be done like this? ಇದು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡ ಆಚೆ, ಇದು ಶೀತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಶೀತ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಂಗೆ, ಥಂಡಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ. ನಾನ್ ಹೋಗೋಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ, ನಾನು ಹೋಗೋನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಮ್ಮ ಶೀತ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಕಷಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕುಡಿತೀರಾ. This reasoning, why it is and what happens if it is not followed, was what we did in tuner and other experiments in 1980s and 90s that led us to a concept called as reinforcement. So reinforcement ಏನು, ನೀವು ಬಾಳ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಕಪಾಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊಡೆದು ಮಾಡಿಸೋದು ಕೆಲಸನ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗದೆ ಇರೋ ಕೆಲಸನ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಫುಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಬಟ್ the force is not coming by telling that you are right or you are wrong. I'm going to tell brutally that, boss, you are absolutely stupid, do like this. So how that stupidity was figured out, we figured it out using something called as statistical learning. So everything you put into statistics, you get either 1 or 0 or something intermediate. If it is above 50%, you tell it is good. If it is below 50%, you tell you are bakwas. So there is no intermediate concept initially, but it eventually grew into that approach. So you had oral agents, robots started to learn by rewards. So ನೀನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಂಗೆ ಚಾಕ್ಲೇಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ, ಹೋಗು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನೋ ಅಂಗಡಿಲಿ ಸಾಮಾನು ತಗೊಂಬ, ನಿಂಗೆ 2 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಚಾಕ್ಲೇಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೋಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಮನೇಲಿ ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾದಾಗ, ಹಂಗೇನೇನೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಡೂ ವಿತ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ರಿವಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಅಪ್ರಿಷಿಯೇಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಪಾಪ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗೋದು, ಏನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತೀಯಾರ ನನಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಲರ್ನ್. So the actual transformation happened by something called as transformers. So if you guys, by any luck, worked on real ML projects, you would be still looking into scikit and others. We used to call as RL transformers. So attention is all you need. It was a paper, very popularly become the logical explanation about how AI behaves. That was all transformers era. So how BERT and other language models started to understand on its core. So if you see, like, there's a key paper which came, React, Synerging Reasoning and Acting in Language Models. That is one of the core and one of the famous paper which led to the birth of modern agents, what we are seeing today. So LLM agents started to came up with ChatGPT pumping in. There are many other outstanding, baby AGI started to become viral. So AGI is it's like a artificial general intelligence. So ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಅದೇ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆದ್ರೆ it is generalized intelligence, right? You don't need to explain why to do like that. So now what we are seeing is a baby AGI. So it's still in a baby step. We don't know where it will go, whether the baby will survive or not. It's depending on us on how we will make it survival baby or disaster baby. But 2024 to now is what we are seeing as agentic AI. So multi-agent systems, MCPs, AI co-workers, shipping code into production, making things happen by AI is the era what we are looking at. But how many of you can resonate with this? Deep learning, ಸಮುದ್ರದ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಿಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಪೂಲ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು. It's actually a fact, right? All of us do deep learning in the same approach. We explore deep learning in this approach. But we always ask this question to AI, right? Why are you biased and wrong so often? Because you built and trained me. I'm not commenting about that particular people, but the whole AI is trained by us, right? So what we give shit, if you're giving shit, you will get the shit as output, garbage in, garbage out. So the more and more garbage you are giving to your agentic systems, the more and more garbage out you're going to expect out of it. That's what takes us to a more important concept of what is an AI agent. An AI agent is it's a system which has connected with API, sensors, text, whatever you call. What is API if you ask? It's like your way to connect with your data, right? So ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ. If you want to take a particular record of data from an Excel and present it outside, you need an intermediate system. That's what we call as API. You take the input, you give the output. The whole API is built on the CRUD operation. Either you create, you update, or you're going to delete, or you're going to read the data. So all these four operations, what you're doing, we call it as post operations or get operations or update, operations. All of it, put operations, things coming out by an API approach. Whether you give an output, you are going to expect an output. That is called as an environment. ಮನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಮನೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? ಒಂದು ಹಾಸಿಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ದಿಂಬು ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ರೂಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಕಿಚನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ವಾಶ್ರೂಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಯುಟಿಲಿಟಿ. When you bring all of them together, you call it as mane. Illa andra sudugadu antive aste. That is an environment. Now, how this environment is going to behave with existing system? Andre ella manenu onde tara irutte ant kelidre haudu, ella manenu onde tara irutte structurally. Andre mane intintadu irbeku anta haudu. But how that money runs is depending on who is running the money. That's the LLM, right? If your mom is running your home, the approach is different. If your father is running the home, it's a different approach. ಇಬ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮ ಊರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನೀವೇ ಇಬ್ಬರ ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮಂದ್ರು ಅಕ್ಕ ತಂಗಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜಾತ್ರೆ, ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಗ್ದೋಯ್ತು ಕತೆ. So every time the environment is ran by something called as reasons, that is the LLM. So your agentic system is actually being driven by your LLMs. That's what takes us to more important option, that every actions you are taking, code execution ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಬ್ರೌಸರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಪಿಂಡ ಮಣ್ಣು ಮಸಿ ಏನೇನಿರುತ್ತೆ, everything is decided by an action. ಈ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is defined by the LLM again, because your environment supports. But this is a fundamental part. Your actions are limited by your own environment. ನೀವು ಮನೆ 30-40 ಇದ್ದು ನೀವು 50-60 ಸೈಟ್ ಇಂದ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡುವ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೌ ಕೆನ್ LLM can do ever? You apply the same logic to a system. You have a memory of 1 GB and you're expecting a task of 2 GB to run in the system. Obviously hang ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಮ್ ಅನ್ನತ್ತೆ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Now that is where the concept of memory comes. We'll look into that memory. Memory is a very important item which I don't have properly. Most of you have it very good. That's why you are in UVC. That's a different story. But factually speaking, memory is the constraint. So that is a constraint where you have ample amount of work to do. If you are an EC guy, if you are a CS grad, all of you need to think about memory, because memory turns out to be the execution power. right? So works autonomously toward a goal. How you can get things done towards a goal with minimal human input is what we are looking at. So if you ask a chat GPT, singleton, no memory, no tools, it's just like it's a chatbot, right? But an agent is different. You have multiple steps. You have to have a persistent memory. Persistent ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ನನಗೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಿಮ್ ಗರ್ಲ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಬಾಯ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಯ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಜ್ಞಾಪನಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಕ್ಲೇಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಜ್ಞಾಪನಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹೊಡೆದಿದ್ದು ಜ್ಞಾಪನಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ಲವ್ ಯು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ಜ್ಞಾಪನಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಫರ್ಗೆಟ್ ದಟ್ ವಾಟ್ that person did at the last moment because you're still processing that thing, right? So it's a persistent memory. The memories keep on persisting. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಜಗಳ ಆಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀರ. ಈ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಸಿನಾರಿಯೋ ಡಮಾರ್ ಮುಗ್ದೋಯ್ತು. ಹಳೆ ಸಿನಾರಿಯೋಸ್ನ ಎತ್ತಿ ಎತ್ತಿ ಕೆತ್ಕಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಟುಡೇ. So it has a persistent memory. It has a tool use, right? So what you should execute, what you should do, where you should do, and all those things. So that is something that we have to think, self corrects, etc. So what is a core architecture? It all works on a beautiful logic called as PRAL, PRAL we call. Perceive, reason, act, and learn. So how agents actually think ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್. ಓಕೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ದಟ್ ಇದೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ಹೊಡಿಬೇಡಿ. ಬಟ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ interviewers would love to listen this word PRAL from you guys because that's how the system is working. So how you perceive by APIs or user input or sensors if you are a EC grad. How you reason, you have LLM planning. How you act, these are all things I have, let me go and execute it. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಬುಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೋ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಇಫ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಗೋ ಟು ಮೇಘಾಲಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮೇಘಾಲಯ ಇಂದ ಯಾವ ಏರ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ ಏರ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ ಹತ್ರ, ಏನು ಎತ್ತ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಹುಡುಕುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವ್ನು ಬರೀ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್ಸ್ ಔಟ್ ದ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಏನ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಇದ್ದೇ ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಮೇಘಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫಿಗರ್ ಔಟ್ ಹೂಮ್, ವೇರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್. ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಬಿಕಾರಿ ತರ ಹೋಗಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್. ಸೊ he'll ensure he is traveling to these entries. So ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಲೋಕಲೈಸ್. ಮಿನಿಮಲ್ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಸೇಫರ್. ಪಾಪ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನ ಹತ್ರ 10,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಬಜೆಟ್ him 50,000, where he'll go? So I have to again budget it back to 5,000. So he can't go in a flight. So I have to go back to bus. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್. ಈ ರೀಸನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದು ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ದೊರೆ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ನಿನ್ ಹಣೆ ಬರ ಇಷ್ಟು, ನಿನ್ ಹತ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡಿದೆ, ಇಷ್ಟಿಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಹಿಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಡು ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್? ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಬೆ ಪರಿ ತರ ನೋಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಐ ಶುಡ್ ಡೂ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೇ ಎಸ್, ಗೋ ಅಹೆಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬುಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಔಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್, ಗೋ ಅಹೆಡ್, ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್, ಡನ್. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇವನ್ ಹತ್ರ ಪಾಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ದುಡ್ಡಿಟ್ಟು ಐ ಕುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ಅಂತ. ಆರ್ ಯು ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್, ನೋಡು ಗುರು, ಈ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 10,000 ಇದೆ, ಈ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 30,000 ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಕೇಪಬಿಲಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ಯು ಲರ್ನ್, ಯು ಪರ್ಸೀವ್, ಯು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ all of this, and all of this happens in a loop. That's why it's called PRAL loop. So I have a react pattern. So reason plus act is interleaved, so it's called react pattern. It's not your Java React, sorry, your React as a system. Chain of thought is like ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್. ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್. ನನ್ನ ತಪ್ಪುಗಳನ್ನ ನಾನು ನೋಡುವುದು, ನಿನ್ನಾತ್ಮ ಶುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿನ್ನಾತ್ಮ ಚಿಂತನೆಯ, ನಿನ್ನಾತ್ಮರಂತೆ ನೋಡು ಅಂತ. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ದೊಡ್ಡವರೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. AI is just following it in its own way. That's called self-reflection. So the core architecture is sprawl. No, but this fundamental thing, right? What is this AI agent all about? If you see, I don't know, none of you know about this word called RPA. It's called robotic process automation. If you know, I'm so happy for you guys. So RPA ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ AI ವರ್ಕ್ಫ್ಲೋ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಏಜೆಂಟಿಕ್ AI ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ RPA ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಬುಕ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದು RPA. ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಬುಕ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಚಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಏಜೆಂಟಿಕ್ AI ವರ್ಕ್ಫ್ಲೋ. That's all it is. RPA was developed 20 years back. Today we are just putting AI on top of it and making it agentic AI. And if you ask what is agent all about today, it's all about prompts, if else loop, and functions. So the better you know how to prompt, the better you know how the conditions are flowing, you are the master of AI systems or agentic system. So what we use tool and memory is very important, right? So we use tools like code execution, Python or Bash or REPL, all those things. You have web search, you use Bing, Search API, Travely, you have Google, Gemini, all those things. API and services, obviously go with REST controllers, GraphQL. Zapier is not a recommendation. I would love to use GraphQL more. Database, you have so many things to do. You have light SQL vectors, vector data DBs, hundreds of DBs. Most profoundly used thing is Google Excel as database. People use it anything and everything. File input and output can be generally docs, PDFs, Excel, because that's how world is running. But it's very important, right? If you're using all these tools, it also comes with memory as a constraint. If you're using in context, you should always go with short memory. So the quickest memory what you're talking. If you're using external data, like you are talking about vector DB, Pinacon, Chroma, and all these things, you have to use long term. It's used for long term memory. Episodic memory, like it's just a past interaction log, right? You log your interaction somewhere and you just cater it when you're required. That's called episodic memory. And semantic kadre, it's factual knowledge. This is what it is. This is a fact, and this is how the embeddings are. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿನಪ್ಪ ನೀನು ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ಅಂತ. That's called semantic. We'll see how it actually works. I can show you it in ChatGPT if you really want to see. And it's called, we have something called as procedural memory. Like you learn by workflows, which you'll only see in agentic workflows. We'll look into it. But how multi-agent system works, you have data as an agent, you have planner as an agent, you have action as an agent, you have research as an agent, and you use coder as a system to bring all this together. So the key pattern is you have supervisor, worker, peer-to-peer mesh, you have sequential pipeline, you debate and do the system. Heng work agutte andre very simple. ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿಫೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಸೊ ನಾಸ್ಡ್ಯಾಕ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾಳೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ಏನೋ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಹೇಗೆ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ or any other tools, Nifty 50 is depending on your NSDQ market. Nasdaq ulta hodide antandre obviously Indian market ulta hodiyutte. That's your research agent. But your data is telling that systems hodidrenu these systems are going to back up, because Nasdaq alone not every stock has collapsed. Some stocks have actually got boom because some war is happening somewhere, it is breaking the system. So your data is telling itara scenarios ladaga nodappa ee stocks mail barutte anta. Then you do the planning. The market begins at 9:15. Which all stocks I am going to book, which all stocks I am going to buy, which all stocks I am going to sell. That's your planner. And your coder will actually write the code to get it executed. Your action agent is exactly going to buy and do the things for you. So all of it comes together called as orchestration. Ella orchestration andre violin PP ಪಿಟೀಲು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಆರ್ಕೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೋ, you do it in agentic system, it's called orchestration. So don't think like I told those words very badly. ಪಿಟೀಲ್ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. it's so near to heart. ಅದೇ ತರ AI systems also, it's just an execution paradigm. Now let's see where it is exactly being used ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬುಡ ಹೊಡಿತಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇವನು ಏನು ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕತೆ ಹೊಡಿತಾನೆ ಅನ್ಬೇಡಿ. So the agents are already reshaping every industry what you're seeing. It ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ I think your team would have not even thought of getting this even done, right? So you see GitHub Copilot, it's chindi ಉಡಾಯಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೊಮೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ. Every companies are not now going away from Claude and they're using GitHub Copilot as their core ecosystem. You take finance, you have autonomous trading. I only gave you example. Healthcare, drug discovery. Look into this Google DeepMind, man. If you see generating a new protein artificially would take years of effort. It's taking minutes of efforts to create a new system and train it out. That's the healthcare is getting into next level. Customer operations. There is a startup in Bangalore. If you guys go to Lalbagh again, Lalbagh Westgate na Lachek bandre, you see a company called as Gnani.ai. So they also got funding along with our own Param AI. So what we actually do in the Gnani AI antandre, you'll be surprised. They can talk with you for 15 minutes in artificial voice without losing any context. Sorry, I have some fever, but if you see on the core constraint, they can talk with you. They can interactively talk for 15 minutes without any fail. That's how call center ಕೆಲಸವರೇ ಬೇಡ, ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ತಲೆ ತಿಂದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಆರಾಮ್ಸೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. So that's how the call center operations have been completely transformed. Think about a company like let's not name my company, but my company would be operating trillions of dollars every day. So ಆ ಕೆಲಸನೆಲ್ಲಾನು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. There will be some repetitive task, right? So why do I need the human to do repetitive tasks? Let him do a better task than this. So we just optimize this process. That's how the customer optimizations have taken to boom. And you have research, you have DevOps and cloud, like whatnot. Everything is taken care. So, but as I told, all of it actually comes down with a concept called prompt engineering for agents. So you have something called as system prompt. So that's your core fundamental prompt. So once you have your system prompt, then comes the tool description. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳೋದು. It's called tool description. Then comes a few short example. So show the model. Okay, if you are supposed to do this task andre, how people can come and ask you questions, and that's called few short examples. And then you define how the output should be. So a reply and active prompt always goes like, you have a system prompt which is always set there. User would ask something, it will think, it will give you the final answer. So if you go and see DeepSeek, if you go and see Claude, if you go and see Copilot, everything is behaving on the same logic. So the agentic AI landscape today is very simple. If you want to build a agentic AI, you should know LangChain, LangGraph, AutoGen, which is from Microsoft, QAI. It's pretty famous these days. OpenAI Swarm. They are also used for lightweight orchestration, semantic kernels. Like you can actually create your own kernels out and get the agents working. Haystack is also very famous in the search-centric patterns. So Anthropic MCP, obviously one of the famous in the game. So what are the foundation models? GPT-4, which is cheaper model. Claude 3.5 is there. Llama, Quen, Mistral Large, so many and so forth. For your foundation things, like ಇದೆಲ್ಲ lightweight models ಆಗು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು. So you can download it as a lightweight model and run the show. But if you want to look into the infrastructure side, Pinacode, Travely, AgentOps, AWS Bedrock, Vertex AI, there's so many and so forth. But the landscape is very simple. Today, you just need to know what you want to build, how you want it to be built, then everything else will be done by any of these systems coming together. So why are we talking into this tool complicatedly? Look at this. Agentic AI market by 2030 would be $47 billion. That is market, I'm telling. But the evaluation of a company like OpenAI is already crossing $1 trillion. SpaceX went for $1 trillion IPO. Can you imagine? SpaceX is coming up with X agent. That would be super boomly identified AI, and they are ready to do it. So the SW benchmarks by Devin and others are already going greater and greater every day and day out. So the context tokens already look into Gemini, it is able to do 1 million plus. Claude can already take 2 million plus context token. 2 million context token it can bear. One token is four letters and uncontra. 1 million tokens in it can store and can process in single stretch. And if you see the GitHub survey in 2024, even 26 55% of the code written in GitHub of that year was from AI. Today it is 98%. So it's how the momentum is taking. But this is where we are actually heading towards. If you see what are we doing today in a broader scope, when I was used to write the code, only God and I understood what we used to do. But today only God knows. God is AI. It only knows how this. It only knows. But the problem is this God is very bizarre. Okay, ಇದಂತರ ದೇವರಿಗಿಂತ ದೇವರಿದು. ದೇವರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರಲ್ವಂತೆ. ಕೇಳಿದನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾಪನಕ್ಕೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತ. But this AI will forget everything. It only comes and telling that this code is wrong, so I have to rewrite this code. So great level of God, and this is how people are looking into it. So this here is called AI, right? You can ask question and confidently lies to you. It does, and it lies to you. That's why you find it more interesting and executively very different. That's a challenge, right? Because it is lying to you. The most important challenges and safety in the agentic system is the harder problems that is open for everybody to solve is how are we going to talk about hallucination, reliability. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, if a task can be done by 100% accuracy by if else condition, ನೀವು ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಏನೋ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬರಬೇಕು. ಈ ಕೆಲಸ 100% accuracy. Why should your agent do it with 95% accuracy? If you already know this task can be done by 100% accuracy, why do I need to replace it by a system which is going to do it with 95% accuracy? That's called as reliability constraints. And if it tells like ಹೇ ನೀನು ಮೈಸೂರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ಐ ಲವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಟು ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್, ಬಟ್ ಮೈ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. So the hallucination should not happen, right? And the long horizon planning failures are like that because the agents drift ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ one agent to one agent, ಈಗ booking agent to hotel agent to travel agent to ಮತ್ತೊಂದು agent. That drift keeps on happening. By the time you started, it's like we play this game ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇರೋ ಕೋತಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದರ ಹತ್ರ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವ್ರು ಹಿಂದೆಗೆ ಬರೋ ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಮಿಂಚಾಗೆ ನೀನು ಬರಲು ಹಾಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಮಿಂಚಿಗೆ ನೀನು ಬರಲು ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. That's how things are taking forward. The long horizon is completely broken. And the prompt injection attacks are left, right, center. ನೀವೇ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ChatGPT prompt inject ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. And that's a different problem we are trying to solve in different landscape. Governance. Who's going to govern all the data you are putting? If you guys know or don't know, your AI, if you ask Gemini AI to create something, one day it might give your photo only as a reference. Because who is going to take care of your governance? Yaar ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ whether you're doing it right or wrong ಅಂತ. So it just comes back and gives the same data back in the system. So there's a lot of issues with governance. You never know what is there. The digital footprint of an individual human being has increased by 72% in just 6 months when Claude came to existence. And cost and latency, it is very famous, it is very popular, but the question is ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹಾಕಿ ನೀವು ವಾಪಸ್ ಏನು ಬಂತು ಅಂತ. So latency cost is not coming to system. That means the alignment value lock-in is not happening. So the goals of AI agentic system, that what you guys are going to build along with us, is how can I bring all of this problem and try to solve it together? And that's the bigger question. So the glossary of or the AI lexicon is very simple. What is LLM andre? It's large language model. What is agent andre? It's an LLM that can do all task action with the Paul approach what we told. Tools and function, external capabilities. RAG is a retrieval augmented memory where you fetch the real-time data with the context before you even generate the output. What is React? Right? It is reasoning plus acting. What is vector DB? And it's the vector DB, the actual conceptual vector DB what we're talking. What are embeddings? It's all about numerical representation of your text-heavy data. And chain of thought is system of thoughts. MCPs are model context protocols. Hallucination is your systems trying to fail. Fine tuning is how you can tune the systems and how we can actually do the guardrails. So I would love to share this slide. If you go on, guys, take it as an output screenshot. You feel free to take it, because if you know this slide properly as because it's fundamental, I'm not going deep on any of this, but every topic in each are worth of talking for 2 hours. So I've taken sessions on each of this topic, but I have never been able to complete any of those topics with less than 3 hours. So deep it is, so intentful, contentful, whatever you call it. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ it's like you read both ಅಡಿಗರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕುವೆಂಪು, ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಗುಡ್ಡ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದಂಗೆ ಕುಮಾರವ್ಯಾಸನ್ ತರ ಇದು, because you have everything coming in. Look at that Kumar Vyasa. At that time point, this fellow is writing like ಕಾದು ಕೊಲ್ಲುವಡೆ ಪಾಂಡುಸ್ತರು ಸಹೋದರರು ಕೊಲ್ಲಲಿಲ್ಲ ಕೊಲ್ಲದೆ ಕಾದನಾದೊಡೆ ಏನೇನೋ ಬರ್ದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ he has a capability to explore, expand, think beyond capability. ವೇದ ಪುರುಷನ ಸುತನ ಸಹೋದರನ ಹೆಮ್ಮಗನ ಮಗನ ಮಾತುಲನ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? But he can think. The AI can think in the same way. So that's why the agentic AI systems are nothing less than human capability built in its core and powerful intent. So back then AI engineers were like this ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದ್ರು, ಏನ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡೋರು, ಏನ್ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು. ಇವತ್ತಿನ AI engineers ಹಿಂಗಿದೀವಿ. We know only prompting. We don't know the basics. So my request to all of you is be strong in the basics. Fundamental ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಬುಡ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಗಿಡ ನೆಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. ಯಾವ ಗಿಡಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಗಿಬೇಕು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಭೂಮಿ ಭಾರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಎಷ್ಟು ನೀರು ಹಾಕಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಎಂತ ಗಿಡ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ you don't become an AI engineer of this category what we're talking, right? Just fine tune ಮಾಡಿದೆ, I just did the prompt engineering. AI can prompt itself. It really doesn't need a prompt engineer. What it actually needs is a guy who can build the prompt construction, right? So the reality would be like unemployed, but in LinkedIn you are putting like I'm an AI enthusiast, startup advisor, mentor. Bullshit. Nobody really cares about it. What people really care about is what you really know as a content. When you go out, when you're talking about a subject, people should think like, ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಇವ್ನಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂತ. It should not be just that thought. ಇವ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. The fact is very simple. The reflection should be so strong that people should come and drive towards you to get the things executed. That is the reality. That should be the reality. It's not like you are just checking in the AI and asking AI to do your systems, and that could be a part of a system. So what is your path forward? Be fundamentally strong in your um, what you want to achieve. So for example, like we talk about REST APIs, prompt engineering, langchain, ನೋಡಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಚೆ. Be very good in all those things. So understand, add memory tools wherever you're doing. Basic thing ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, how many of you would really go and use your inspect mode? I know most of you don't even look into it. One website hodre, start using being a developer, look into its inspect, see what is cookie, what is happening in backend. You might also find a bug in a system, right? Start doing multi-agent projects. Try to see autogen, try to use crew AI, try to do some research work, figure out a problem. Ninde ಏನು ಸಾವಿರ problem ಇರುತ್ತೆ. You see, take your Kagada as an example. How can I convert the whole Kagada program into an agentic system? From registration to execution, how can I completely digitalize this process? That should be a great multi-agent project. Like, really ship something, okay? Don't put fake items. ಎಂತ ಪೆಕ್ರು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಫೇಕ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ, ನಿಜ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಕತೆ ಸಾವಿರ ಹೊಡಿಬಹುದು, ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪನೇ. So always try to ship the real thing. So that's something that you guys have to be looking forward. So with that said, I put my thanks to you guys. Okay, I'm not going to stop here. The slide is stopping here. I'm also sorry for boring you guys, but I want all of you to go through few more things before I could officially wrap up this whole session. So let me share this one screen with you guys. Okay. So I'm also constantly looking at your responses. So I need some responses back out there. So how many of you have seen all these tools ever in your lifetime? ನೀವು ಗೂಗಲ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಆ 9 dots ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ you will see all these tools. Just quickly raise your hands. So how many of you have seen all these tools? Anybody? Just raise your hands. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ನಾನು ಈ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಂಗೆ ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತು ಏನು ಅಂತ. Nobody? Oh, this is very deadly silence. Oh, cool. Okay. ಏಯ್, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಪ್ಪ, ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬನೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರ್ ಬೋರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Sir, we have not used all the tools, sir. Like few we have, but not all.
That was good. So ಈ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, this is very brilliant tool. They figured out this agentic system would come and hit them anyway. So what they built was, all of these are actually tools today. Google Business Profile Manager, Gemini itself is an AI agent, Calendar, Translate, photos, news, videos, sheets, docs, shopping, anything and everything what you're seeing here, arts and culture, merchant, Google Ads, forms, ಇದೆಲ್ಲಾನು are nothing. Google Wallet, Notebook LM, Task, all of these are agents in its own nature. So basically what you guys see in your 9 dots windows is Google's agentic AI systems kickoff. It's just a kickoff. There are many things to see there. So they actually build this whole ecosystem. But what we don't know is we really don't use all this capability. That's a very fundamental flaw, right? How many of us really go and have explored all these items? If you click on Google Finance, it shows you a different world of finance. If you have used Google Keep, they give capability. If you ever go to Google Console, it will ask you to use all this as an agentic ecosystem. So basically what we miss is what we really miss in its core practice. So none of you have used it. So the assignment could be like explore how these things are connecting dots together, right? But so that's something that go back and explore. So with that, I would like to open for QA if you guys have any questions.
Hello, sir. Thank you for making this session so interactive and very relatable to everyone. I had a question, sir. You told so many tools, like we can use LangChain, LangGraph, and everything.
Hmm.
So, if I'm a complete beginner, say first year, or I'm still in my third semester or something, and I want to start building AI agents, recommend me to use for building my first agent? Because now we see GPT 4.2 and all of those are paid, right?
Correct.
So which one?
Okay, there's something called as Gemma. Aita. All of you as a student, you should start using Gemma. Download Gemma model. It is 1.3 GB, the base model. If you can download Gemma model, you can run it in your local system also. Fundamental AI tool that can do far equivalent task like your GPT 4.0. Okay, download Gemma first. Amale, you have to also be a bit careful in using AI in its own time. Let me show you something crazy. So how we as a developer start doing using AI, Gota? You'll find it so funny. But if I ever go and start building an AI agent, I'll first go to Perplexity, right? So this is how I start to consume AI in my own nature. So if you see, we'll start with asking like, what is trending agentic workflow? So it actually goes back and does a research to solve using AI. So if you just ask this question, it tells you, it actually provides you, here are the high impact topics that can be done. Cross system workflow, 24/7 intelligent support rates, blah blah bullshit everything. But obviously ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಗೇನು ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. So now we have to ask one question. I am a student. I want to solve a basic student friendly problem using agents. Technically, I want to build it. This can be your golden standard question. Okay, let me continue with. Let's go. Oh, I don't want this. Okay, that question you can also ask with. Okay, those who know Kannada don't comment on the email ID, but it is what it is. Okay, so it will tell you like, okay, a study helper agent, blah blah blah, everything. So take this whole thing, okay. ಇದನ್ನ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ, there is a tool called DeepSeek. Go to DeepSeek. There is a version of DeepSeek called as Expert. Drop it here and just let it do its magic. So what it does is, DeepSeek is basically a reasoning model. So it starts to reason why a user gave this question, etc. So this tool would go back and tell you what you're trying to achieve, how it can get it done, etc. So it gave you the actual problem statement. ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ ಏನನ್ನ, ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದೇನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, it is actually documenting everything. It's trying to build the whole ecosystem, right? Which blah 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 everything. But take this. See, look at this flashcard, action plans, everything. And then what you guys basically need is go to Gemini. Okay. If you go to Google Studio, if you click on Get Started, they'll actually give you your Google Studio API keys. So by default, you're always using Gemini. You can use all this different models. You can choose framework, etc. So they have Google AI Studio basically. So Google AI Studio would provide you a playground to get your things done, right? But you can actually go and, like, for example, like, now I showed you all those tools, right, within the Google ecosystem. ಇದೆಲ್ಲಾನು ಆ ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ದು next level option. So if you ask anything, like if I take this output, what I got here, and give it to Google AI Studio, just click on just go ahead and try to say it, okay, go ahead and build this. It will start building the whole systems, right? So it's starting, it will start to code, it will start to execute. See, it's starting to generate teams, do all those things. So there are two things: whether you can build an agent or you want to build something from agent. Now what we are doing is building something from agent, but if you want to build an agent, basically what you need is this Gemini API key. So ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ Gemini API key ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ just go and tell it like I want to build it as an agent. The same thing, what you are asking an agent to build, you can make that itself as an agent. ಮಾಡಿದೆ, I took a prompt and I asked system to build it. Now I'm telling I want to build a system that is capability of doing all these things. So see, it started to build the architecture for your agent. One day tool, look in this comparison. The same tool can give you this prompt also, this prompt also. The chain of prompt is actually built from your DeepSeek or your ChatGPT. Once you have it, again, you can actually build your agent from your look into this. It started to select a design, do all these things. You can explore this later by yourself. But if you want to build an agent, basically you got your prompt, and once you get your prompt, you can go to Claude and ask it to do it. That's it. Build agent can give code. Keep Gemini placeholders. So it will give you production ready code. What you guys just want is replace that Gemini API key with your actual key. It will start to work. Does it answer your question? I know I went a bit ahead, but
Very informative. Thank you.
yeah, that's how we build systems. So we are not gods, okay? ನಾವು ಮನುಷ್ಯರೇನೆ. We also solve problem in its own way, but we problem the problem to solve it ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Anupama? Oh, sorry, Anupam. Somebody raise your hand. You're not audible. Any other questions?
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Okay. If you had to advise a first-year engineering student today, what three skills, first-year engineering student, what three skills or technologies that we should focus so that we can contribute in Agentic AI instead of just using it?
See, first year, second year, third year doesn't matter. Everybody has to know three fundamental AI skill set. Number one, statistics. Be very good at statistics. Understand statistics at the core. The second thing, learn architecture building. Okay. Understand how systems are built. The best of best approaches, start reading research paper. Okay. ಎಲ್ಲ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪೇಪರ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ GPT-ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿ, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಕೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ಪೇಪರ್ ಇಸ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್. Because the more architectures you know, the more design patterns you understand. So the first thing is you should the second thing is you should know architecture approach. First thing is on the fundamentals of how systems are working, etc. And the third thing is you should be master in at least one or two coding languages. Supremely master either Python, or you should be good in Go language, or you should be good in Java. C++ ಎಲ್ಲ fundamental, okay, don't worry about that. Try to focus your all capability to master Python, Go, or Java. Java is what world is running on. All our banking systems are running on. Python is what AI is running on. Go is what the business is running on. So if you know any one of this language in its core, you have you are the master in the domain. Yeah. So one guy asked about, sir, I have a doubt about looping engineering, prompt engineering, and context engineering. Looping engineering means using AI to loop another AI, right? So how does it work? So ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಅತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಮಗಳ ಗಂಡ. ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ನ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಗಿವ್ ವಿತ್ ಸಮ್ ಕಾಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಈಗ if you see carefully, ನಾನು ಮುಂಚೆ I took a copy of content and gave it to Claude, and along with that content I gave it one more prompt. So that was your context basically, and that the prompt what I gave was your prompt engineering. So now what Claude does is it understands its own mistake and comes back in loop. That is called loop engineering. So basically, from the prompt to get the prompt done is what is called as agentic AI system. So they are not different, they are same in different names, in different approaches. Yeah. Other question? Anybody else? Hello. Oh, if agents become very capable, what kind of jobs? Hey, don't worry about jobs, okay? If somebody comes to your college and say, hey, placement ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, placement ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು placement? If you are not fit enough to explore the world in its own way, why do people would come and hire you? 3 years back, there was no AI. People wanted somebody to code. Today, AI is already there. Why do they want you to code? They want you to build the system. You are no more a coder. You are no more a software engineer. You are going to be called as builder. Mark my words. There will be no profession called as software coding. It is called as software engineering going forward. You are going to engineer the process to get the things done. So, what jobs always still needs human and ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ every job ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕಲ್ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕೋರ್ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಕಾಂಟ್ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಈಸಿಲಿ ಬೈ AI. ಬಟ್ ಈವನ್ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್, ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್. ನೋಡಿಪ್ಪ, ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಅಮೆಝಾನ್? ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಚಿಂದಿ ಚಿತ್ರ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಮೆಝಾನ್ನ, ಅದನ್ನ ಇದನ್ನ, ರೈಟ್? ಡು ಯು ಲೈಕ್ ಯುವರ್ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಟ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೈ ಫಾರ್ ಯು, ಆರ್ ಯು ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೈ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್? ನೀವೇ ಬೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ, ಅಮೆಝಾನ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ದವನೇನು ಬೆಕ್ರ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನ? ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಹಿ ವಾಂಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರಂಗೆ, ಸಿ ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ನೋ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಡ್ರಾಪ್. ಸಡನ್ಲಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸ್ಕಾಲಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ 5 minutes, you will see another price drop happening, right? Amazon is built in that way because it is UI experience first. Why do you require an agent to come back and take over that particular experience? Same logic applies everywhere. It's not like AI agent ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. It is predominantly like, you have an AI agentic system, can I make it work for other systems? So wherever there is a capability, there is a requirement of human can do intensively better task, he is always there. But the job market will fall down, that's for sure, because it fall down ಆಗ್ತಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ reason also ಇದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ seniors ಇದಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಚ್ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ, that batch, the hardware systems went down, the software systems came into upfront. That's why there were more hirings happening in software. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಸನ್ ಏನು ಅವತ್ತಷ್ಟೇ, come out of this madness. Why people got hired too much in COVID period is because companies were not paying money for the rental addresses. ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ ನನ್ನ ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ರನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದಷ್ಟು ಕೋಟಿ ಉಳಿದ ದುಡ್ಡು, ದಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್. Fundamental logic. When people are coming back to office, I can't put that money. Obviously, in this current situation, everything is hiked. So I need to pay more money. I need to pay more resources. So to balance it out, I need to cut down my people. So it's not like job market down, and the job market was bound to be down. Whether it was AI, without AI, it was supposed to be down. And any AI itkondu are we burning money? And no, big firms like ours is not burning too much of money. We would have cut down it in somewhere. We would have reduced the hiring so we can get more AI component into system. But at the core, if you know the skill set, if you are smart in using AI, if you are smart in building AI, if you are smart in exploiting AI ecosystem, you are the boss. People will hire you like anything, and they pay you very good money. And obviously, the fundamental coding jobs will never go. It will still be there, but it is leveraged by AI. That's it. Others, any question? Oh, if most AI models are trained on similar publicly available data, why do different AI systems often give different? Oh, it's not trained by same data. Who said it is trained by same data? Google will not give the data to Gemini, sorry, GPT, Chat GPT, right? So OpenAI scrolled the data, but it became a data privacy issue. So they have to give data back, and they are not supposed to use the data what they scraped. So fine tuning is where things comes to picture. Like if my firm is doing, I use the same model and start to give my data to it. My data is not available publicly, so it become private modeling. So fundamentally, to answer your question, fine tuning is by my data. Public data is not used by every models. Just for your understanding, even the models like Mistrals, etc., are using its own data, which is synthetically generated. So it's never true data, but it is a partially true data. That's why you see different model answering differently. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು fundamental thing, all this AI gives a response based on mathematical calculations. The more complex calculation you do, the more better output you will give. That's what Claude is doing. Claude Sonnet, you will do computation high. Claude Opus would do better calculation. Haiku will just do a basic calculation. So based on the calculation of model, the output will differ. So even though it is trained by same data, the complex calculation behind it defines how it gives you output. So think about calculation. And obviously this domain is how energy optimization, optimized conditioning, networking, all these things will boom like anything in coming future. It has a huge market to play. We're just in a baby step. Like ideno alla, there's so many things to explore. Yeah, any other questions, or I think we are good? Oh, we are only 6 minutes on top of the hour. So thank you guys, good to have a great interaction. That's my meeting. Thank you.
So thank you so much, sir. Now I would request Grishma to give the vote.
So, good evening, everyone. On behalf of IEEE UVCE, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to Mr. Subramanya Navada KR, software engineer at JP Morgan Chase, for delivering such an insightful and engaging session on Agentic AI. Your expertise and valuable perspectives have given us a strong foundation on understanding this rapidly evolving field. I would like to also thank IEEE Bangalore section, IEEE Women in Engineering Bangalore section, and IEEE Computer Society Bangalore chapter for their continued support in fostering learning and innovation. A special note of gratitude goes to our faculty members and organizing committee, whose dedication and efforts made this webinar possible. Finally, thank you to all the participants for your enthusiastic presence and active engagement throughout the session. With that, we conclude today's webinar. We look forward to seeing you at future IEEE UVCE events. Before we conclude today's session, I kindly request everyone to switch on their camera for a group photo. Thank you guys and have a wonderful evening.